Stuart Varney of Fox Business Network is going to talk about the issue of women in the military, and he's going to do it with the special ops guy who killed bin Laden. Now, there were some restrictions on women in some roles until recently. Now, all of the restrictions are gone, and as long as they meet the criteria and the standards, they're allowed to be in any position. And this segment did not go as Stuart Varney had planned.
Women can go into active service and into combat all across the field of the Pentagon's forces. Special forces say women are not prepared for duty on the front lines, or they're not prepared to bring them in at this point. Rob O'Neill is with us. He's the man who shot Osama bin Laden. He is a former Navy SEAL. What do you make? Can I ask you for a flat-out judgment? Do you think that women should be part of special op teams that go in and shoot down Osama bin Laden?
Well, Stuart, thanks for having me today. I've operated with women. They've actually come with us on special operations. We use them a lot for some of the searching of women and children, cultural sensitivity type stuff. Also, another thing that I know that these Islamic fighters, they don't fear death, but they do fear hell. And if they're killed by women, they go to hell as far as they know. So, I mean, I like to say, lock and load, ladies. If they don't lower the standards, and they can pass them, yeah, I think they should get a shot.
That's interesting. If they don't lower the standards and they pass the standards, same for everybody else, you have no problem with that. Look, Rob, I've never been in combat. I've never fired a gun in anger in my life. I've never been shot at either. I've barely been in a fist fight. But, so I don't understand combat. But are you telling me that you're perfectly okay going into a life and death situation with a woman by your side? I'm told that it changes the dynamics of the group that you're operating with.
It could potentially change the dynamic, and the last thing I'm suggesting is we make the military, especially special operations, a social experiment. But if the standards stay the same, it's equal opportunity type stuff. If they can make it, most of the men that try out for Navy SEALs don't make it. I think an even greater number of women wouldn't make it if they're going to try. But if they don't lower the standards, yes, they should be able to. And there's definitely a place for women too. There's certain intelligence operations and reconnaissance type stuff. Women and men working together is better.
I just wonder. I think men have a sort of hunter-gatherer mentality. They go out and break things and kill people. I wonder if I'm on dangerous ground here, and I know it. Okay, I know I'm.
I think we both are.
We're both on dangerous ground here, but you get where I'm coming from. You see my point? Without me actually spelling it out.
Oh, the way that ended was glorious. Because it's Stuart Varney who's like, I don't have a reason that's not going to get torn down by people that are smarter than me, so, you know what I'm saying? Women. You know what I'm saying? Do I have to say it? I don't have to say it, do I? You know what I'm saying. Broads. Am I right? Am I right? No, you're not right. You're not right. Dude, he explained it. And by the way, that's my position 100%, where he goes, as long as you don't lower the standards, yeah, women should be allowed. Anybody should be allowed. If you're not lowering the standards, you're just saying, hey, you have to be able to do the same things that the men can do in order to get into this. Why would you be against it? The only argument they pivot to is basically the one that Varney made there, which is it changes the dynamic. It's different to have a woman there, And what that means is, what I perceive from that, you guys can tell me if you disagree, but when you dig deeper, and I've had conversations with people where they make this argument, you dig deeper, and they admit it eventually, where they say, well, it really comes down to there's, a gender and sexual dynamic there where you don't want, if you want it to be all the guys so that nobody's interested in the sexual angle when you're going into combat. And it's like, okay, well then just be clear about the argument you're making. You're saying the men can't control themselves in that realm, which is an argument made in Islamic theocracies as to why women need to cover the fuck up in the street. Look, I'm all in favor of women's rights, but you gotta cover your fucking face. You don't want a man seeing your hair and getting hard and not being able to control himself. You don't want to invite sexual assault against you, right? You would have had it coming if you were showing your hair. This is what they're getting at here. And look, again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to further. If you guys want to say, no, what he really means is X, and you tell me what you think he meant, I'd be more than happy to evaluate the argument. But there's a reason why he's stopping short and he's not giving more detail, because whatever the reasoning is, it's weak-ass reasoning. Because the reality is, as long as you can meet the standards, why would you object to them joining? And on what possible grounds? The only other thing I can think of is just this blanket generalized idea that Stuart Varney has about the sexes, which is so concrete and set in stone that he doesn't even allow for exceptions to it. This idea of like, well, they're just different than us. Women, they're just not the same as us, and we have these different, drives, and that's the end of the conversation. So now we need a blanket rule to stop all women from getting the position. But the way I would respond to that is, look, nobody's denying that, like, it's a scientific fact that men on average are stronger. They have more muscle tissue than women do. Women have a higher fat content. There's literally chemical and hormonal differences. So there are like biological differences between men and women. Nobody denies that. And there's even a truth angle to the hunter-gatherer thing and the nurturer thing. There's a truth angle to that as well. But as Stuart Varney even admitted there are exceptions to the rule. Stuart Varney was like, I never fought in combat. I never want to fight in combat. I can't really do something like that. I'm kind of a bitch. And look, I'm with Stuart Varney on that. I'm kind of a bitch too. So in the spectrum, I'm more on the side of, a male who doesn't have that aggressive hunter-gatherer mentality. Now, on the flip side of that, there are women who do have that more than some males. There are variations within the genders, which is why you don't do generalized blanket rules and say, all women are stopped. No, not all women. Look, I would object to the policy if they try to do some bullshit quota system. The population's about 50% male, 50% female, therefore special ops need to be 50% male, 50% female. No, that's stupid, because then what if more women don't meet the standards? What if you don't find as many women that want to do the role? I say they should be allowed. They just have to meet the same standards as the men. And if at the end of the day, the ratio is it's 90% men, 10% women, so be it. So there is an idea that's, I think, too liberal for me, a quota system where you make women do it and they don't even necessarily want to do it. But that's the thing, nobody's proposing that right now. If they do propose that, I'll be against it. If they want to lower the standards, I'll be against it. But it's just about, hey, if you can meet the same standards, should you be able to do it? The answer is yes. Because if you say no, what you're saying is, I am generalizing. It is all of you who are not worthy. I have now decreed and decided that I will define your role in society. That sounds very similar to the 50s, doesn't it? Get in the kitchen and shut the fuck up. That's your job. That's the space that you need to be in. It's just how you are and how I am. Hey, you're biologically made for a role that's more like that. You are the nurturer after all, right? There's no natural deviation. There's no women who want that to do that less than others and more than others. So just know that's your spot, and I'm not even going to let you go anywhere else. Not even an option. No. They should have any option they fucking want, and whatever they choose to do, they should do. If they want to be a housewife, I support them 100%. If they want to get in the military and fight and they can meet the standards, I support them 100%. This is nuanced, rational thinking, something Stuart Varney knows nothing about.